The Kelton House Museum originally had 4 upstairs bedrooms. 2 of these have been renovated in a mid-Victorian style.
This bedroom typifies the less than convenient nature of the Victorian family home.
The first thing you notice as you come into this room is the beautiful 4-poster bed. Now, I love 4-poster beds. I have one. I think they're beautiful. But by now, you know it's not about being pretty. It's practical. And in the 1800s, having a 4-poster bed was a very practical thing to do. In the wintertime, recall that the only way to heat this room is the coal-burning fireplace. And by 2 or 3 in the morning in January, it is going to be very cold in this room. So they would hang velvet or woolen bed curtains from the 4 posters and tie those in a knot in order to try to keep the body heat in the bed. By the time summer came, they would take off those woolen or velvet bed curtains and instead hang mosquito netting from the 4 posters. And then as they slept, that mosquito netting again protected them from the bugs and the dirt that were going to come through the open windows as they slept. Now, as you look around the room, you notice the bathtub. This is called a hip bath, and this is where the Kelton children would bathe once a week, usually on Saturday in preparation for church on Sunday. On Saturday afternoon, the servants would bring hot water up from the carriage house, and they would fill the tub once. And then all of the children would line up, and they would take turns sitting on the shelf, bathing, rinsing, and getting out. Then the next child got in, bathe, rinse, and get out, and so on. What you're not hearing is that they changed out the water with every child, because they didn't. All the children used the same bath water. It was just too difficult to get all that water up and all that water down multiple times. Twice a day, the servants would bring up hot water in the pitcher that you see on the dresser. And then the basin became their sink. And the same things that we do in front of our sink and mirror is what they would do. Brush their teeth, wash their hands and face, prepare for the day. And when they were done, the servants had to take out the dirty water and empty it and clean the basin. And at the same time that they were taking out that to clean, they would have to take out the chamber pot. Now, if they had no running water for a tub and they had no running water for a sink, they had no running water for a toilet either. Now, they did have an outhouse that was on the back of the property, but the property extended very close to 2 blocks away. So you had a choice. You could walk 2 blocks to the outhouse, or you could use the chamber pot within the house. And as bad as that might sound to you, I would far rather be a Kelton using the chamber pot than the poor servant who had to clean it. If you notice over here in the armoire, there are some pieces of clothing that was owned by the family. I'm particularly intrigued by the shirts that Mr. Kelton himself wore. They were white and could be washed with hot water and lye soap, but I'm intrigued by the fact that it has a button on the inside, a button loop, so that Mr. Kelton could button that shirt inside of his pants and his shirt tail never came out of his pants, which I think for some of the young boys in my acquaintance, that might be a good idea even today.
On the wall near the bed, you'll see a beautiful painted fan that was given by Sophia Kelton to her daughter-in-law Laura on the event of her marriage. A painted fan was a perfect gift for a daughter-in-law. Fans were in general important because the lack of air conditioning, the weather was so hot that to have a fan was wonderful. And to have a fan to commemorate your wedding given to you by your mother-in-law was a perfect gift. On the other side of the bed is a needlework sampler done by a friend of the Keltons, Clarice Seymour. It seems so unorganized. It has images that don't have a composition. That's because it was a sampler. She was practicing to create the little doves and the hearts and the other designs that she would later incorporate into her needlework.